What's up, Rebels? This is Sean Ogle of Location Rebel on location in Vail, Colorado, where I'm going to be skiing for the next week. And in this video, we're going to be talking about all of the different types of freelance writing you can get started with. There's SEO writing, there's technical writing, there's content writing, there's copywriting. You might have heard people say that freelance writing is one of the best ways to start building a business online. And personally, I truly believe it is the best business for beginners to get started with. But with all of these different types of freelance writing, how do you know which one is best for you? Well, we're going to go over all of those different types of writing in this video, just as soon as I take a nap. No, seriously, I got up at 3:45 this morning. I'm going to go take a nap. You can watch the drive from the airport. Do that. Okay, now that nap is out of the way, or it was more like a 5-minute lay down, kind of snooze, try and sleep, but not really sleep kind of deal, you know what I'm talking about? I need a nappuccino. I need a coffee, and then a 20-minute nap, and then life hack number 1, nappuccino. Anyway, I'm stoked to be here in Vail. We're gonna have a lot of new content this week. It's been a little while since I've been on the road, so we're gonna be seeing my friends Matt Giovanisi, Travis Sherry, all sorts of people that I'm gonna be skiing with, hanging out with, and trying to make some sweet videos with. But today, I promised you, we're gonna talk about freelance writing. I'm gonna try and make this as succinct as possible. You think we can keep this like under 10 minutes? That's the goal, under 10 minutes. Ready, go. First off, why freelance writing? Well, because it's a skill that most of us already have. There's a huge demand for it, and there's not some secret formula for how to find work. It's actually pretty simple. And so if you've got persistence and you can be consistent, then you can be successful freelance writing online. So that's why I think freelance writing is the best bridge business. That thing that is going to get you from where you're at now in a life you're not maybe super stoked on to that point where you're making some money, you've got some confidence, you've got some skills, and then you figure out what the next thing's going to be down the road. It's bridging the gap from point A to point B that eventually is going to get you to point C. No cocktails yet today. We're at altitude now. I gotta hydrate. Yeah, I actually do feel a little dehydrated. You also need to check out this view we got going over here. I'm gonna show you that in a second, but unfortunately with the light and the sun, it wasn't quite working and I was all backlit, and so you get this view, the kitchen view. So, sorry, what are you gonna do? Maybe the next one, we'll figure it out. It's not like I was traveling with a giant light kit or anything. So the first type of freelance writing is SEO writing. This is like bottom of the barrel, lowest level, easiest to find work, but also the lowest paying work. So for those of you who don't know, SEO stands for search engine optimization. I've got a video we'll link below all about the basics of that, but there is a basic SEO strategy where what you do is you write a bunch of articles and you post them in various places online, and each of these articles are relatively low level and they have links back to the website that you're trying to rank. 5 to 7 years ago, SEO articles were all over the place, and you could basically hire someone to write you 500 articles with 500 links that get posted to random places online and then link back to you and help your rankings. Well, it's not quite that simple now, but there is still a market out there for these types of articles. The great thing about it is you don't have to be that good of a writer. They're generally only 300 to 500 words long, and they're about random topics that you're probably going to get hired for in batches. So you might be hired to write 50 posts all about valet podiums or cat furniture or different things. When I first started online, those were the things that I was writing about, valet podiums and cat furniture. That's why I thought of them. So you might be thinking like, I don't know anything about cat furniture. Well, the good news is you can spend about 20 or 30 minutes researching, really learn everything you need to know, and then just kind of write the same thing 50 different times in 50 different ways. It's tedious, it's boring, it's not sexy, and you're probably only gonna make between $5 and $15, $20 if you're lucky per post. So if you're a fast writer, like I could bang these things out in 15, 20 minutes. So I was making 45, 60 bucks an hour when I was doing it, but I'm also a pretty fast writer. But the great thing about this is it's a perfect fit for someone who's just getting started online and they just need to build a little bit of confidence. Maybe someone for who English is not a first language, so you can start getting some of these articles to get your feet wet with the freelance writing thing. So this isn't something I expect you to do forever. Generally speaking, when people join Location Rebel, we spend between like 1 and 3 months just so they can go through the full spectrum of writing work. Finding work, setting up your website, doing the work, getting paid, rinse and repeat. So in a nutshell, that's SEO writing. Low level, 300 to 500 word posts that you get paid $5 to $20 for. Great for beginners, great for people who aren't native English speakers, and great for people that are just trying to build a little bit of confidence. Not great as a long-term business these days. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I forgot to put batteries on this microphone, so shot this whole video. Yeah, no sound. Everything after SEO writing, nothing. If that's not an amateur mistake, if that's not a rookie move, I don't know what is. Let's do it again. So the second type of freelance writing is general content writing. For most of you that want to be freelance writers, this is going to be your bread and butter because this kind of encompasses probably 80% of the freelance writing world. Okay, so what is general content writing? Talk about a vague term. It's basically any content that you see on a blog or business website. There are millions of businesses and websites out there that need writers. We live in an era where people are pumping out so much content. There is a huge demand for writers that can, well, keep up with that. What's great about it is you can also niche down. So there's all sorts of different sub niches within general content. So for me, I'm an expert in the golf world. So I've done a lot of content writing about golf. I've kind of become known as the golf writer. Liz, our director of content, she's a finance writer. She does a lot of business to business writing or B2B writing. So she'll write for financial institutions, analytics companies, tech businesses about the financial side of things. She's had a lot of success with it by kind of niching herself into that B2B finance writer. B2B stands for business to business, by the way. If you don't understand what that is, we got a whole 5,000 word post, link below, all about how to start B2B writing, which is just a form of general content writing. So if this is something that's interesting to you, I would generally recommend trying to find a niche. What is something that you're an expert at that you can kind of make your thing? So you can become known as, oh, they're the person that writes about blank. So Sean's the person that writes about golf. Liz is the person that writes about finance. Figure out what your thing is because it's going to make it a lot easier to pitch clients. So how do you actually go about finding clients? Well, I've got a few videos on that. We'll link to that below, but the gist of it is make sure you've got a website that talks about all your freelance services, lets people know what your personality is all about so they can get a sense of the type of writer you are. Second, it's all about cold email. I make a giant list of hundreds of potential clients, websites, blogs, agencies, anyone that might want my services as a writer. And then I just spend an hour every day sending personal emails. It takes a long time. It's not fun. It's not sexy, but it works. And if you can be persistent and you can be consistent with your effort, then you have what it takes to be a freelance writer. I mean, that's what so much of the job is just being persistent when people say no and continuing to try and find work. If SEO writing is like super bottom of the barrel, $5 to $20 a post, well, content writing, it's a big range. It's like, imagine like $25 a post, upwards of like $2,500 a post. So if you're doing a B2B post that's 3,000 words for a financial company, they might pay you $2,500 for that. But if you're writing a blog post for a golf blog that has dozens of writers, then you might get $100, $150, something like that. So it very much depends on your skill level and who you're writing for. So for beginners looking to build confidence, SEO writing. And then for most people, you're gonna move into general content writing where you're gonna try and find your niche. You're gonna be persistent with your outreach and trying to find clients. And that's how you're gonna get your freelance business going. The third type of writing is one we're not gonna talk a whole lot about, but it's called technical writing. So technical writing is basically every time you read an instruction booklet or a book of operating procedures or things like that, a technical writer is the one that wrote that. So specifically, if you've got some sort of technical skill, whether it's in the automotive industry industry, or you're an engineer, or if you're a medical professional of some sort, you've got some technical knowledge that will probably translate well into technical writing within your industry. But it can be a little bit harder to find those jobs, so usually people start out with some of the general stuff, they find their niche, and then they realize, oh, I can take this niche that might be more technical, and then get into some of the technical writing, which pays a little bit more than just kind of your general content writing. Still with me here? Sorry, I'm trying to do this quick. I've already gone through it once, so hopefully it's going to be a little less rambly than it probably was before. Okay, finally, last type of content writing, copywriting. Copywriting is like the coup de grace, the creme de la creme of freelance writing. Why? Because copywriting is what makes the money. So copywriting is specifically any form of writing that is trying to be persuasive with your words. So if you are reading a sales page, if you're reading an advertisement, if you're reading a Facebook ad, if you're reading a Google ad, if you're reading an email from a blogger who's trying to sell you on a product, all of those are forms of copywriting. And if there's one skill I think you should learn, if there's one skill that I think is frankly the most beneficial skill to have in business, it's being a good copywriter. So if you're a good persuasive writer, you can go get freelance copywriting work, and there is literally no ceiling on how much you can make. So good copywriters might make 50 bucks an hour to start, but then if you're good at it and you can convert it into sales, you might get paid 10 grand for one email or more. I mean, it's insane how much a good copywriter can make. So to give you an example, I've done a little bit of copywriting in the golf industry. I've done some writing for a couple of the biggest golf businesses out there. With one email series that I created, over the course of a week, we made $300,000. And my cut of that was a pretty significant 5-figure paycheck. And this isn't even my main business. This is just something I do on the side for fun because I'm pretty good at it and I like golf. And well, it pays well. So you don't just come out of the gate copywriting. So you might be watching this, I want to become a freelance writer. Wow, copywriting sounds like the best way to go. So you don't just like jump into that because you got to learn how to become a copywriter. It's something that you have to learn by doing. You have to get hands-on with it. You have to start understanding some of the psychology of persuasion. That's a nod to the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, which the tagline is The Psychology of Persuasion. I highly recommend you read that if you want to become a copywriter. It's not necessarily a copywriting book per se, but when people ask me what's the best book on copywriting you know of, that's what I tell them because it helps with the whole psychological process and the sales process and things like that. I would also check out the Gary Halpert letters, which are some of the best sales pages ever. And the more you read these, the more you get a sense of the content in them, the better you're going to be able to translate that into your own writing. Also, if you really want to get serious about your copywriting skills, I recommend you check out copyhour.com. It's the best course on copywriting that's out there, and it's actually the entire process that I use to boost my own copywriting skills. So definitely recommend you check that out. So there's all sorts of ways to find copywriting work, but what I recommend is make sure your website is on lock. Use that as your training ground, your testing ground, your proving ground. Start with your about page. Pretend like you're trying to sell someone who has no idea who you are on the idea of how awesome you are and how good of a writer you are and why they want to be friends with you. So use that as kind of your test page, and then do it for every other element of your site, whether you've got a services page where you're offering services, whether you've got a blog. Really get in depth and use that site to test things out and improve your skills. So with that, I'm gonna go get dinner at my favorite restaurant. Make sure to hit subscribe if you like this video. If you want to build a business you can run from anywhere on earth, that's what we help you do here. So make sure to hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we got a new video. And stay on the lookout for more sweet videos from Vail. We're gonna have one coming up where we're actually gonna walk you through the freelancing process, exactly A to Z, how to start freelance writing. It's gonna be a good one. And until then, I'm gonna get out of here, put my jacket back on because it's kind of cold, and enjoy this beautiful evening. See you guys soon.